All right, today I may have bitten off more than I can chew. I want to talk about skepticism, which is great. We all want to talk about skepticism and critical thinking and independent thinking, but I want to talk about it with maybe too many topics. NPR, student loans, smartwatches, luxury timepiece pricing, and the rituals of self-humiliation to acquire these luxury watches, dynamic pricing, and surge pricing. I want to cover the importance of being skeptical as it relates to all of these topics here. So let's begin with NPR. I listened to NPR since the late 1980s, and I don't listen to it anymore. I don't know what to do. They send me these friendly letters about how they want my money, and I don't know what to tell them. I don't listen to them anymore. I quit. Here's the thing. I've always known that NPR had a political point of view. It had a certain slant, but I didn't mind it because it was lightly sugar coated. You know, there was a cereal my mom would let me eat when I was a kid. It was called Life cereal. It had sugar in it, but it was lightly coated with sugar. And I felt that way with the NPR. You know, I enjoyed listening to it. I knew that it had a certain point of view. I'm a very independent thinker. I'm not an ideologue of any kind. And then over the last 5 years, this Life cereal at NPR, it was more like Captain Crunch, or it was too much. In fact, millions of listeners who share a lot of the political views of NPR, they left because they wanted Life cereal. They didn't want Captain Crunch. Things got kind of Cocoa for Cuckoo Puffs over there. Even one of their own business writers, he was suspended today after he wrote for Barry Weiss's newspaper that he saw the propaganda churning out over there. It's like, we want independent thinking. We want skeptical thinking. We understand if you have a point of view, but man, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is just too much. So I was never hostile toward NPR. I just stopped listening to it. Their content became saccharine pablum. It just became so boring. And then I found myself listening to podcasts. You know, my favorite podcast, The Gist, with Mike Pesca. Here's a guy who worked at NPR. He's got the inside scoop on it, and he'll tell you that they've jumped the shark. And he's a very good skeptical thinker. And when you start losing people who are on your side of the political point of view, you are in trouble. Now, Mike Pesca says, I don't see any course correction for NPR. I don't know. They may have reached the point of no return. Not good. Not good. So I'm sure there's good people who work at NPR. I mean, I know there are, but those people, I'm sure they've been silenced by the more virulent Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs voices, and I don't know what's going to happen. That's a shame. One of my friends worked there. God, he's a great guy, smart guy. He hasn't been there for about 5 years. But, that's tough. So I'm not really into being a political ideologue. You know, I teach college writing, and I tell my students, and I love my students do not fit the stereotype of the snowflake or the person with this ideological slant. I always tell my students, you know, you don't have to agree with me about anything. I don't have a political agenda here. You're adults. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to have critical thinking skills. And then I give them an example of a topic, forgiving student loans. I go, sounds great, but I'm kind of skeptical, forgiving student loans. You guys are 18. Who's going to benefit from forgiving student loans? Probably people who graduated from college. They're like 25, 35 years old. They're going to get the forgiveness. Not you. No. Those colleges, man, they're business institutions. They want to get paid. They want their money. And who are they going to charge when they don't get those loans paid, man? They're going to charge you, man. The 18-year-olds, they're going to hike up your prices. From what I've read, though, overall, it's just us, the taxpayer, will pay for those student loans in the tune of billions and billions of dollars. There's nothing free, man. Everything's a Ponzi scheme. You rob from Peter to pay Paul. And when I tell them that, they go, ooh, maybe I should rethink this. Yeah, your kids and your grandkids will be paying for those 34-year-old student loans. So, I don't know. It's just something to think about. Maybe it's a good thing. Now, a lot of people who watch this channel are into watches. I'm into watches. I'm wearing a Seiko SLA055 today on a MM300 soft strap. Absolutely love it. I don't know what to do. It's so beautiful. It's boring. I mean, I'm so content that I have nowhere to go in life, which you should envy me for that. But you know what, man? We're not into fads. We're not into gimmicks as watch guys. We're actually using technology that was invented about 200 years ago in Switzerland. What was it? The 19th century, first Swiss watch. We're old school, man. We're skeptical of some of these things, and these smartwatches. When the smartwatches came out, and I would talk to Rafi at Watch City, he said, "Man, these things are terrible. They're not bad in terms of the technology, but the problem with them." And the reason why I don't like having them around is that they become obsolete so quickly. They're like in less than a year, the technology, the software updates make them obsolete. They're just awful in that regard. I did some research today about the smartphone in terms of its obsolescence. Now it's a little better. From what I've read now, if you buy a nice, did I say smartphone? Smartwatch. If you get a smartwatch, it'll last you 2 to 3 years for you. But I don't know. You spend $700 on a nice loaded smartwatch. I don't know. I spent $500 on my wife's smartwatch. She's had some problems with it. It doesn't charge all the time. I don't know, man. I thought it was going to be this amazing thing. I don't know, man. I'm skeptical. I would be angry having a smartwatch because it would be taking away from wrist time from things like this. That would really upset me. My buddy Carlos, the sheriff, he's a watch obsessive like me, and he actually has an Apple smartwatch. He says it has certain functionality that he needs for his job, but I think he regrets wearing it because he's not wearing one of his, he has a Rolex, a Breitling, and some upper scale Seikos. So I don't know, man. I'm skeptical of the smartwatch. We don't like gimmicks. We're very skeptical. Speaking of skepticism, gosh, man, some of these luxury timepiece pricing methods, man. It's almost like they create these artificial scarcities to justify the price, and then they make us go through a series of humiliations to show our seriousness in buying a watch. You got to go to a respected dealer, and make the request. You got to put down a deposit of between $2,000 and $5,000. You don't really know how much you'll have to pay to complete the deal because the price of the luxury timepiece depends on certain external factors that we cannot control. And I want to tell you guys something. As watch guys, we love control. We're happiest when our watch collection is controlled and disciplined, and we have this very neatly assembled watch box. All the watches are in their proper place. We don't like things in a state of chaos. And sometimes I think that the watch industry purposely creates confusion and chaos, resulting in us paying more money for the watches. And then we have to grovel to some of these iconic watchmakers to see if we can just get into the club and pay all this money. And I find it insulting, and I can't do it. Imagine taking one of the greatest brands of all, not just watch brand, one of the greatest brands of all time is Rolex. And sometimes I have this fantasy that we're the characters in The Wizard of Oz, and we go to the Rolex. We don't go to the Wizard of Oz, we go to the Rolex sheriff in the Emerald City. And the Rolex sheriff, he's yelling at, "What do you want?" "I came here to get a Rolex." And he's like, "Well, everyone comes here for that. You don't just get a Rolex, you have to earn it. And to earn it, you must go to the volcano and descend into the volcano and come back with a minimum 6 by 6 inch lava brick and hand it to me. But that will burn my hands. Precisely. Ha 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 ha. You know, so you have to go through all these humiliations. And it's amazing that some of these luxury watch brands, they're so bold in overcharging us for the watch. It shows their confidence in using that boldness as a leverage point to see how we know how famous we are. And this actually proves the greatness of our watch. So I don't know if I'm going to go into the bowels of the volcano to prove my worthiness of getting a luxury watch. I'm going to tremble and shiver before the Rolex sheriff to see if he'll let me get my Rolex or whatever the timepiece is in question. So now this mysterious pricing is the CEO of Wendy's Burgers says in 2025 they're going to use dynamic pricing. They're going to use algorithms to know when the non-peak shopping is. And then they're going to charge less for burgers during this non-peak based on algorithms. The dynamics could change. You know, my daughter Julia goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to go to Wendy's. Can I have some money?" "How much do you need, Julia?" "Let me look at my phone." Well, right now, the double cheeseburger is $11, but by the time I get there, it'll be $17. So I need $17. Oh, that's rough. So the CEO got screamed at because people didn't like the dynamic pricing. But he says, well, he doesn't. He's not using what people are really mad about. That's called surge pricing. That's also based on algorithms. Uber and online shopping and hotels, airlines, they use surge pricing. And what that is the price can surge depending on demand, supply chain, and whatnot. And it's chaos, man. You know, when my wife has to get airline tickets, it takes her so long. She you know, carry on luggage, insurance. There's like 47 options. And the price can jump from a couple $100 to over $1,000 based on all these options. It almost seems deliberately confusing. It almost seems like the pricing sheriff is making us just gaslighting us, making us shake and tremble. I remember when online shopping started growing. I remember in the early 2000s, all these websites for toys and everything. And I remember Amazon just bought them all up and they all died because Amazon bought them, was just snatching them up. But I remember there was this idea that online shopping was going to give us the best deals. But now it's algorithm-driven, surge pricing. It's chaotic. It ends up burning us. And you know what, man? I can't even end this video being outraged. I'm not going to give you performative outrage. I'm probably too jaded. I'm probably too jaded for performative outrage. I mean, I grew up, man. I'm a pretty old dude. I grew up with artificial scarcities in luxury timepieces, designer handbags. Those can be subject to dynamic pricing fluctuations. Italian sports cars. There's a lot of things, man, where they create these, you know, especially diamonds. But I don't know. I'm too jaded, I think. I'm just looking forward to the day that my daughters are on their phones telling me that the cost of giving them money for a burger is this much at this time and this much for another time. To me, that's insane. No wonder I just live in my watch world, man. I can't deal with that much chaos. I feel completely ordered, calm, and ASMR'd into mellowness by this beautiful Seiko. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. Until next time, I'm out.